And hopefully we will get a chance to explain that again, this is not something that can happen without spirituality. Because if you are selfish, you will never be able to love anyone else. If you are selfish, you will never have a society in which people help each other without expectation. How can you get rid of selfishness? How can you get rid of your ego without being a spiritual person? The other thing is that an ideal society is the society in which people encourage each other for doing good things. This is very important. You know, we human beings, in addition to our physical and personal energy, we can get lots of energy from others. Sometimes if I am, alone and I do something, I become tired. But when you praise me, encourage me, help me, my power is increased. This is perhaps something very strange, but very beautiful. That our power is not the power of muscles. Our power is also power of determination and our will, which very much can come when other people also help us and appreciate what we do. Or on the other hand, if there are people who always, criticize and blame and nag, then you lose your power. So therefore, what we find in the Quran is that the Quran says, for you to be saved from loss, in addition to having faith and righteous deeds, you must mutually encourage each other for doing good things, for being patient, for being merciful, for observe the truth. For example, God says, إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. How beautiful it is. Man is in loss except those who have faith and do righteous deeds, but this is not enough. You must be involved in a community life in which you help each other. تَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. That they enjoin each other to be patient. I may lose my patience, but you say, don't lose your patience. Be strong. I am there to help you. And also to observe the truth. For us, truthfulness is very important. In another place, in Surah Teen, God says something similar, but after الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ says وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْمَرْحَمَةِ. Those who enjoin each other to observe the patience and mercifulness. So we have to encourage each other to be merciful. Or in a general way, God says, اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَكُونُوا مَعَ الصَّادِقِينَ. Be pious and try to be with the people who are truthful. So it's very important that you should always try to be among good people and among truthful people, among merciful people, patient people, because then you gain energy from them. And if they need also help, you offer your help. So there is a hadith that some people, ask about characteristics of a good friend. So the answer was that a good friend is the one that whenever you forget, he reminds you. So if you forget God or you forget, your principles and values, he reminds you. And if you remember, he will encourage you to do more. So this is a good friend. A good friend is not the one that when I make a wrong thing, then he says, well done, do more. A good friend is the one that may blame me. Or in another hadith we have that a good friend is the one that makes you cry. What does it mean? It means that he honestly tells you about your negative points. As you know, we have also hadith that it must be like a mirror. In mirror, you must see your true face. The friend is not the one who is not honest with me and always says good things about me. A real friend is the one who tells me honestly what is wrong with me. So, اتقوا الله وكونوا مع الصادق. So, this is a very important characteristic of any social entity, that the members must be voicing values, good things, reminding each other about those things, and if anyone forgets, they tell them, please, remember, this is what we are committed to observe. Look at this verse from Surah Al-Imran, number 110. This is chapter 3, number 110. And this is a verse that those who are not familiar with Islam may think that this is a kind of, discrimination or a kind of a special privilege given to Muslims. But I'm sure if you read the verse carefully, you find that it's quite opposite to anything like discrimination or privilege, given to Muslims. The verse says, "Kuntum khayra ummatan." You are the best nation. "Ukhrajat linnas." You are the best nation which has ever been brought out for humanity. If it was not linnas, people could say, oh, this is the concept of chosen people. The same thing that we have in some other, faith communities, I don't want to mention. So Muslims also have the same thing. They say we are the best people. But this is not the Quran. Quran says you are the best to benefit humanity. You are the best to serve, not to be served. This is very different mentality. In Islam, privilege comes when you serve, not when you are served. If anyone has any value because he or she is more beneficial, more useful. When Jesus was born, one of the things he said, according to the Quran, was, وَجَعَلَنِي مُبَارَكًا أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُ. God made me blessed wherever I am. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, it means that God made me beneficial. I am not created to be worshipped. I am created to benefit. So every person who goes higher in his spirituality or her spirituality must become more humble, more helpful, more available. And the best example can be found in the life of the prophets. The Prophet of Islam never let people to treat him like a prophet or like a king or even like a teacher. He wanted always to be one person like others. And therefore, even in his sitting, he was not even sitting like us. He was always sitting in a circle, so no one knew who is the head. He didn't want to be special. So when people from outside Medina went to see the Prophet, they couldn't realize by looking at the place or chair of the Prophet or having guards that he is a Prophet. They had to listen. When he was speaking, they realized that this man is a Prophet. Otherwise, no dress, no bed, no, throne, nothing special. The Prophet was so humble, and this is, for me, a great lesson, and I hope I never forget this lesson, inshallah, in my life, that he was so humble that he was even happy to play with the children. This is something, if you understand the society of, Arabia at that time, this is unbelievable. A man play with children in front of others, it's impossible. Once the Prophet kissed his grandchildren, a person blamed the Prophet and said, I have never kissed my children. And the Prophet said, Man la yarham, la yurham. If you don't show mercy, you will not be shown mercy by God. So he used to play with his grandchildren and even letting them ride on his back while he was a prophet. And not only his grandchildren. One day the Prophet was going to the mosque to lead the prayer. Imagine you are a prophet and people so much love you that they are ready to die for you. And they are waiting in the mosque for you to go and lead the prayer. Then some children stopped the Prophet on his way to the mosque and they said, we have been watching you playing with your grandchildren. You should also play with us. The fact that children can stop him by itself is important. Sometimes, even today when presidents or kings or, ministers, they go, no one is able to say even one word to them. They, must evacuate, all the roads. But the children said, very, peacefully, without any worry, that you play with your grandchildren, you should play with us. What did the Prophet say? He didn't say, I am busy, or, go and play with your grandparents. He said, okay. He stopped there. He started playing with them, but sent Bilal to his house to bring something. So he played with them, and Bilal went and brought some walnuts and gave to them. And then the Prophet said, are you ready to take these walnuts and sell me to myself? They said yes. So the Prophet purchased himself from the children so that he can go to the mosque. And then he said, I was sold cheaper than Yusuf. Because, Joseph, when was taken as a slave, they also took him to the market and sold him. But the Prophet said, I was sold only by some walnuts. So, this is the humbleness that makes a person available, free for people. Even children can go and ask him something, even maybe not rational, reasonable. But as far as he can, he would try to accommodate everyone. Unless they ask for something wrong, then, of course, then he's strong and resisting wrong things. But if it is a matter of sacrificing his convenience and comfort, he doesn't mind. So this is another quality. So kuntum khayra ummah ukhrajat linnas, for the benefit of humanity. So this is very important. So in the Quran, we don't have anything like you are chosen people, you will definitely go to heaven, everyone must serve you. Absolutely not like this. Indeed, the Quran doesn't give any guarantee to any Muslim to go to heaven. It's a matter of your performance, how good you are, and also no privilege. The other thing, how much time do you have to pray? 10 minutes. 10 minutes. The other thing is that in an Islamic society, we must, which is connected to this, we must not only invite people towards good by words. God says, "Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat linnas ta'muruna bil ma'ruf wa tanhauna 'anil munkar." You enjoy the good and prohibit the bad. But this is not only by word. It is mostly through your own character, your own performance, your own actions. So we have so many hadiths about the significance of being a voice for values without speaking, a silent voice. How can you be a silent voice? You can be a silent voice by showing those values in your character. This is something also very important. Unfortunately, sometimes people are just satisfied with saying something without themselves having those value. This is not Islamic. Another quality which is very important is that an Islamic society must be truthful. To be truthful is so fundamental that I personally, in my lectures on foundations of morality, I say that there is chance, there are grounds to claim that this is the most fundamental value. Some people at the beginning they don't accept, but then after discussion normally they accept. To be truthful is the most important thing in my view. And I think everything good comes out of this. An Islamic society is the society which is more than anything else committed to the truth. Indeed, the Quran teaches us that the reason we follow God is that because He's true. ذلك بأن الله هو الحق وأن ما يدعون من دونه الباطل. Even the fact that God is true is the one that makes us follow Him. If God was not true, then we would not have followed Him. So it means that for us the most important thing is truthfulness. And because we are truthful, we follow God who is true, and indeed all the truth come from Him. God says about the Prophet Musa that وَمِنْ قَوْمِ مُوسَى أُمَّةٌ يَهْدُونَ بِالْحَقِّ. This is Surah A'raf, number 159. God praises a group of people of Moses, a group of his community, not all of them, but says that among them there were people who were truthfully guiding others, who were following the truth and showing this also and sharing this with other people. This is very important. أُمَّةٌ يَهْدُونَ بِالْحَقِّ. Sometimes you can assume the job of being a preacher or a guide without being truthful. Unfortunately, there are people who show off, or people, who are not honest, and they just want, to attract people and say, we are good. This is not Islamic. أُمَّةٌ يَهْدُونَ بِالْحَقِّ وَبِهِ يَعْدِلُونَ. And bihi means بالحق. And they also observe requirements of truth and rule according to that and judge according to that. So, a good society is the society in which truth is respected and everyone tries to be humble before the truth. And when they make judgments among themselves, they observe truth. And very much connected to truth is justice. So much so that Allah says, even with respect to your enemies, you must be just. Don't forget truth here. I am sorry to say that I don't see this very common. But this is what the Quran says. لا يجرمنكم شنآن قوم على ألا تعدلوا اعدلوا هو أقرب للتقوى. Do not let your hostility with some people make you unjust. Be just. اعدلوا. Be just. This is closer to piety. And once I read a beautiful point by one of friends, and I benefited from this point. So it was not my point, it's my friend's point. It's very nice. When the Quran talks about certain legislations, like fasting, God says, كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. God has asked you to fast. Why? لعلكم تتقون, so that perhaps you achieve piety. So it's not that everyone who fasts is pious, but this is legislated in order to achieve piety. So if I fast and don't achieve piety, my fasting has not worked for me. I didn't fast well. Okay? So fasting is in order to gain piety. Not necessarily everyone who fasts. But here God says, اعدلوا هو أقرب للتقوى. Justice is closest thing to taqwa, or very close to taqwa. It's not in order to become muttaqi. If you are just, you are either muttaqi or very close to that. You understand? Because you cannot be just without being pious. This is a very important difference. So, even if the most vicious enemy is right, I must acknowledge. Even if the one who has killed all my family has right idea, right position, I have to accept. I cannot do any injustice to him, let alone to his family or friends, just because of him. This is not unfortunately common. Sometimes, we human beings, no matter whether we are religious or not, when we are enemy with someone, we don't acknowledge his right, even we don't acknowledge any right for anyone who has something to do with him. All his family, all his, even country, we get angry with them. But God says no. لا يجرمنكم شنآن قوم على ألا تعدلوا. So imagine a society in which even a stranger who has been fighting this society can go to that society without being worried about his rights. Who would, be the one that doesn't want to be a member of that society? It's a human society. Although we say it's an Islamic society, but I think this is ideal for all human beings.
I think that this is my personal understanding. I think that the whole aim of all prophets' mission are so simple when we talk about, but are so difficult when we want to manage the establishment of a society accordingly. Prophets were not among us, according to my understanding, to tell us about complicated things. They're very simple things. For example, be truthful. It's so simple, everybody can understand. But بل الإنسان على نفسه بصيرة ولو ألقى معاذيره. It is so difficult to exclude different excuses that we usually fabricate to get rid of the core of the message. To start our discussion session, I already asked permission from distinguished friend Dr. Shomali to be the devil advocate, if I may. I want you to tell us if, as you said, we did not even had a perfect society in accordance with the Islamic rules, even in the time of the Prophet, with his presence. And after that, he told us that we never witnessed that this framework is really happening. in Islamic society. One side of this is good, this kind of understanding. That means that all the time we have a goal in front of us and some motive to try to become. Becoming means moving towards perfection. That is good. But the negative side of that is that if we say that even in the time of the Prophet we didn't have such a society, and we don't have now, and we never had in 1,400 years of story history, then isn't it that this attitude will provide us with a big excuse that all the time that we are looking at Islamic societies, we say that, oh, yes, but this is not Islam. When we move toward even the Prophet's time, yes, the teachings are so enlightened, but no, we never had that, the society. Then whatever happens in our Islamic society, we are left with this beautiful excuse that this is not Islam, what we mean. Then when can we have that? If socially, because you said that the Islamic teachings and even the spirituality is not meaningful if we limit it only in the level of individuals. We should have an ambiance, a social ambiance for this. And if this never happened, then somebody may come and say, then what is the use of that? That within 1,400 years, we never had. So these are beautiful things that may not happen. And we are not worried about that, because we say that, yes, still we have to try. If somebody come to me and say that, oh, look, I have my life only 60, 70, 80 years, and I want to fill it. If there has not been a possibility to bring in Islamic society, and even if I move myself not from present to the 2 centuries ago, 3 centuries ago, even in the time of the golden period of Islamic civilization from the 3rd Hijri century to the 6th, even in the time of Prophet, then one may come say that, yes, it is very good, we wish, but this is an idealistic profile. And we can see that in other messages around the world. There have been people, for example, Karl Marx, when you look at his motives when he was writing Capital, on the British Library there, apart from what has happened after that in Soviet Union and things, you feel that, oh, Marx is a prophet, because he's talking about equality, about justice, about all of these things. They are beautiful things claimed by. But what happened was different. I don't want to make comparison between the result of that kind of ideology, which is this worldly, with the one that we are claiming that there is a connection with the supreme entity, the Prophet, the revelation. To summarize my question is that, are we going to be satisfied by something having in our ideal realm of understanding, but we don't have the chance, and we did not? Is a big excuse for us to give us that we are providing us with a good excuse all the time? We are benefiting we are giving ourselves the benefit of doubt for each situation that we are living in.
Okay, may I add something? Obviously, whatever he said, I would come up with a tradition which goes like that. Prophet says, خير القرون قرني ثم الذين يلونهم ثم الذين يلونهم أو كما قال النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام. Similarly, I would simply explicate whatever he was trying to say, that if considering your approach to the sociology, Muslim sociology or Islamic sociology, isn't that, we are falling prey to the ideology and ideologues or something like that. So I'm especially interested in this response. And obviously you want to start with that question.
Is it gathering questions first or?
Yes, please. Go forward.
He may reply collectively.
Thank you very much, Dr. Somali, and also Dr. Jalali, very questions that it is leads me to have questions. I'm so thankful to have his lecture, but reflecting what we have in Indonesia, this is there is the issue of inclusiveness and exclusiveness. Indonesia started from its independence, the issue of the implementations of the operational practice of Islamic teaching become at a very big issue that and always brought in the level of state and in the level of the society and never finished until today. So after the reformations in 1998, that there is a decentralization, previously was centralistic governmental